So what is the best way to organize your day? There are a lot of opinions about this. There are a lot of videos on YouTube about this. There are a lot of articles about this. And I don't know if there is a definitive answer, but I will give you my answer, which holds some weight because of a few reasons. One is I'm a time management consultant. For most of my last 20 years or so, that's been my day job. I've been a business consultant for 24, 25 years now. And a lot of that has been time management consulting. I kind of live what I teach. I have run and operated multiple companies all at the same time for the past 20 plus years or so, while traveling the world, while dating multiple women. And I've gotten a lot done without blowing my brains out and without having to completely sacrifice my personal life into my work. So time management is something I'm very, very, very good at. I'm a very productive, effective person. It's one of my strengths. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how I organize my days today. This is different than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and I'm sure if you ask me in 10 years, it might be a little different, but this is how I'm doing it today, based on my objectives I have today. And I am, of course, Caleb Jones. This is Alpha Male 2.0. I make a multi-six-figure, location-independent international income from multiple companies, multiple income streams, while not working super long hours, not super long anyway. And I date multiple attractive women all over the world, and I teach men like you how to live the lifestyle the same way. So, in terms of how I plan my day, I use very simple math. And what I do is I sat down, did this a long time ago, I sat down and mapped out how many hours a day I have. So obviously you have 24 hours in a day, you don't have any more than that. But Caleb, you can get more hours by outsourcing. Yes, I outsource a lot. I have a staff of 17 people, yes. I am an outsourced maniac, of course, but the limitation of 24 hours a day still remains in terms of your day-to-day schedule. So you only have 24 hours a day in which to operate. You cannot create more time. It is not possible to actually create more time. And as I write about in my primary book, The Unchained Man, at alphamalebook.com, time is the only resource you can't get more of. If you lose money or waste money, you can always go make more money. If you get sick, you can get better. If you gain weight, you can lose the weight. If your girlfriend or wife dumps you, you can go get a new woman. If you have children and your kids turn out to be a-holes, you're a man. You can make more whenever you want. So just about everything you can think of, you can replace in terms of resources, except time. If someone wastes an hour of your time, or 10 minutes of your time, or a day of your time, that is a day or hour or 10 minutes you can literally never get back, no matter how good you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter how educated you are, no matter how experienced you are. So you have to be very, very, very controlling. You have to be kind of a control freak over your own time. I am pretty ruthless about my time usage. And I have had many, many people email me or DM me in the past who wanted my time, and I had to say no because time is the only resource of my entire life I can't get more of, so I'm pretty protective of it. And that rolls into exactly how I plan my day. So you have 24 hours in a day, right? Right. Out of that 24 hours, first you have to address the lifetime necessities, and the first of those would be sleep. You need to sleep. Obviously, you can't not sleep. And in my strong opinion, and I've written a lot about this, getting enough sleep is one of the critical factors in terms of long-term masculine happiness and long-term productivity. If you typically get 4, 5, or 6 hours of sleep, you are not as productive as you could be, and you are not nearly as happy as you could be. You're probably a little more temperamental, you're probably not as focused, you're probably a little touchy sometimes, you're not as productive. So it's critical that you get enough sleep. So in terms of me, and everyone is different, I have experimented a lot using my Aura ring, which is right here. These are about $300 or $400, and you can wear one and it tells you exactly how well your sleep is doing, the quality of your sleep, your activity, a bunch of other things. And through various experimentation of the last few months, and this is no big surprise to me because I've experimented before in terms of my own body and how much sleep I need, I have found that I need, ideally, I do the best when I am in bed 8.5 hours a night. In my books, I generally recommend a minimum of 7 hours of sleep or maybe 8 hours of sleep for some guys. I think 9 is too much for most people. I think 6 isn't enough for most people. So it's 7 or 8, and it really depends on you. That means you're in bed, lights out, nothing going on. You're not having sex. You're not looking at your phone. You're in bed for 7 to 8 hours every night. And the way it works when you sleep is that you are awake approximately 85% of that time. So if you're asleep for 8 hours, 15% of that time you are awake, at least to some degree. It takes you a little while to fall asleep, and then you might wake up a few times throughout the evening, and that is normal and healthy and okay, as long as it's around 15%. If it's more than 50%, you've got a problem you need to resolve. Mine is around 50%, usually a little less. Again, I track it with my Oura Ring. So I know for a fact that if I am in bed 8.5 hours, I'm gonna get 7.5 hours of real sleep based on that 15% figure. And that's when I do the best. I do the best when I'm in bed 8.5 hours, I'm getting 7.5 hours of real sleep. So that means I can deduct 8.5 hours off that 24 hours, right? Very simple. The next thing I have to account for is my morning routine and my night routine. I have a morning routine that lasts approximately 2 hours and 20 minutes. Oh my God, 2 hours and 20 minutes, hang on. That includes me taking a shower, getting ready for the day, getting dressed, working out, meditating. I don't think a morning routine is just the things you do to set your goals and to prioritize your day, and then you go get ready. To me, you going to get ready is part of your morning routine. So my morning routine includes a lot of things. It includes daily mobility stretching, because I'm over the age of 40. I have to make sure that I'm young and limber for the rest of my life. So I take about 15, 20 minutes every morning and I do an entire mobility stretching regimen throughout my entire body. Then I go work out. That is either resistance training it takes about, 45 minutes or so, or it's cardio, usually 20 to 30 minutes of hard cardio, depends on the day. Then I will meditate, and I will meditate for 20 minutes. And I do transcendental meditation now, which is the hardest meditating you can possibly do. Transcendental meditation, if you didn't know, is where you sit in a chair, you close your eyes, and you repeat to yourself a dumb mantra like Om, 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 Om. And you do that for 20 minutes straight, and you don't think about anything else. Most human beings can't even do that for 90 seconds. I do it for 20 minutes. It's hard. And I'm not saying you should do transcendental meditation. I'm just telling you what I do. By the way, I should probably mention this. What I'm describing here in terms of how I plan out my day is what I am doing. I am not necessarily recommending that you guys do the exact same thing. I am a pretty intense, motivated, hardworking guy who is very excited about life and has big goals. I have no problem working very hard to achieve those goals. Many of you in my audience, matter of fact, most of you in my audience are not in that category. So maybe when I get done explaining this, when you see how much time I put into my work day, you might go, oh my God, that's too much for me. I want to live life and smoke weed. That's fine. Set up your own day however you want. I'm just giving you an example of how I set up my day. Use this as a template to modify for your own life. So going back to my morning routine, workout, meditate, do a bunch of other things. I review my goals. I have a daily affirmations that I say. I read a little bit from a certain book. I do a lot of different things throughout that hour and 20 minutes. Of course, I take a shower, I get dressed, I get ready. So at the end of my morning routine, I am literally sitting down at my desk, ready to work. That's when my workday begins. My workday begins when my morning routine ends. And so I have to take 2 hours and 20 minutes off that 24 hours. Let's round it up to be nice. Let's say it's 2.5 hours. So if you add that 2.5 hours to the 8.5 hours I'm in bed, we're talking about 11 hours. That means I now have 13 hours left to actually engage in things during the day. However, I have a nighttime routine too. My nighttime routine is an hour. An hour? Jesus Christ, I'm not gonna do an hour. Again, if you don't wanna do an hour nighttime routine, don't do that. I'm gonna explain to you why I have such a detailed morning routine and a detailed nighttime routine in a second. It's all gonna make sense at the end of the video when I tie all this together. So I have an hour nighttime routine where I do a bunch of things. I do a bunch of supplements at night. I do some hypnosis at night for my weight loss. I review my goals again. I do my affirmations again. I do a daily review where I review the day and see what I did right and how I can improve in the future. I do a number of things. And what I will do, if there's enough interest, is I may do a separate video on my entire morning routine in detail and my entire night routine in detail. Maybe I should do that as separate videos. Just give you an idea of what I'm doing, because I'll probably get some questions about this. But the point is, my entire night routine is an hour. That means I have to deduct that 1 hour off the 13 hours. So that means I have 12 hours in the day of what I call voluntary time. I now have 12 hours in the day to get my work done, to do any leisure activities I want, whatever it is I want to work. Now, real quick, this routine that I'm talking about, I do 6 days a week. Sundays is my day off. So on Sundays, I don't do any of this. I just relax. So if you're wondering, like, God damn, that sounds like an intense lifestyle. As of about 1.5 years ago, I started taking Sundays off. And I did that because my mentors who make a lot more money than me convinced me that if I took Sundays off, I would actually increase my income and increase my productivity on the 6 days I did work, and they were right. So I take Sundays off. So I don't do these routines on Sunday, but 6 days a week, this is exactly what I'm describing to you is exactly what I do, barring weird scenarios like if I have a weird travel day or something like that. And even the days I travel, I will still go out of my way to do these things as much as I can. So within that 12-hour voluntary time, my goal every day, and again, I'm a motivated, hardworking guy, my goal is to get 9 hours of real work done out of those 12 hours. Now let me explain what real work means. Real work means you are actually working. You are timing your work with a timer. I'll talk about how I do that in a moment. You're timing your work with a real timer and you're actually working. When people say, I work 8 hours a day, or I work 9 hours a day, or they brag on the internet, say I work 14 hours a day, bull crap, bullshit, you are actually not working those hours. You're probably working about half those hours. When you're sitting at your desk and you pop up Instagram, you're not working anymore. When you're sitting at your desk and your mom walks in, if you live at home, or your wife walks in if you're married, or when your kids walk in, you talk to them, you're not working anymore. If you're working at an office or if you live alone, you say, Caleb, well, I live alone. Great. When you pop up YouTube and start watching YouTube videos, you're not working anymore. When you're on social media or playing a video game, or you pull up porn and you jerk it, you're not working anymore. And a lot of guys include that shit into their quote work day. Also, when you're talking to people in your work, when you're talking to clients, vendors, customers, and you start talking about things that are not work related, that's not work. You can't count that. So when I say real work hours, I'm talking about real work hours. If you work an 8-9 hour day, you're probably working about 4.5 hours. When I work an 8-9 hour day, I'm actually working 8 or 9 hours. The reason I know that for sure is I time my work. I've mentioned this before. I use an app on my phone. It's right here. Use an app on my phone called Toggl, Toggl. That's the app that I use. There are many other timing apps, but that's the one I like to use. That way I can categorize my time. And I categorize my work time in different categories. And every time I work, I hit start, I work. Whenever I stop working for any reason, if I want to take a break, if I get a phone call from my wife or my mom, if I have a sudden urge to stop working and fart around YouTube or whatever, I immediately hit stop and I stop it. So at the end of the day, I have a very specific report of exactly the hours in which I'm working. So I'm not bullshitting myself about how much time I'm really working or not working. I know exactly every day how much I work. And at the end of every week, I go through my results and actually plug this into a spreadsheet where I analyze how long I'm working, where I'm working, and what types of work I'm putting into and those ratios. And I tweak those every week because again, my time is very important to me. I don't want to waste time or screw around. This is one of the reasons why I get so much work done. I can run multiple companies while dating multiple women, while traveling the world, while when my kids are young, raising kids and doing a bunch of other things and getting results that most guys don't get because I am extremely productive with my time. Instead of saying I work X and actually working half X, I'm actually working X. Also, the reasons that I have that incredible morning routine and night routine is because those 12 hours that I spend in that voluntary time period, those 8, 9, whatever hours I'm working are 100% optimized. My body is 100% optimized because why? I got 8.5 hours of sleep. I don't eat anything in the morning. I don't want that blood rushing in my stomach. So my bloodstream is clear. I drink a lot of water throughout the day, so I'm hydrated. I have exercised in the morning, so I have plenty of oxygen in my brain. I'm 100% on when I work. Number 2, I've meditated. So my monkey mind, this part of my mind that it gets distracted and gets bored and gets, irritated, that has been shut down and put into a little closet because I spent 20 minutes meditating that morning. So my body is optimized and my mind is optimized for that 12-hour period. So when I put in those 8, 9, 7 hours of real work, whatever I get to, those are optimized work hours that I can hit hard. Unlike most human beings, when I start my workday, I am 100% on. Most people are about 40% on. They didn't get enough sleep. They ate some breakfast. They had to shove a bunch of coffee down their throats because they didn't get enough sleep. I don't drink coffee. I never have. Coffee is a drug. I don't do drugs. That's another thing. I don't drink. I've never been drunk in my entire life. I don't smoke anything. I don't do any drugs, including coffee. So I'm optimized in that respect as well. So I'm 100% on when I work. That's how I can put in those kinds of hours and not get tired or not get bored or not get distracted or what have you. I'm optimized. Now, one thing I've discovered to get those 9 hours in, and I don't always get those 9 hours in. Sometimes I get them in, sometimes I get 8 hours in, sometimes I get 7 hours in. There are days I get 6 hours in. It really varies per the day, but my goal is that 9 hours. What I have found out, at least for myself, is in addition to tracking the work, I also track when I don't work. So what I used to do is I would stop it when I stopped working and start it again, the timer, when I started working. What I do now, been doing this for a month or two, is that I actually, when I stop working, instead of actually hitting stop, I hit go on another category of time that I call off, which means I'm taking the time off. It's off time. And so I track that off time throughout the day. The Toggle app will add up how far you've done in the day so you can at a glance look to see how much hours you put in. And so at any point I can look at my phone and see how much time of that 12-hour window I've taken off. So if I want to work 9 hours, that means I get 3 hours off, right? 3 hours of screwing around or taking a break or having sex or having lunch or whatever it is I need to do. I got 3 hours. Now, if I go to 4 hours, not a big deal. 9 is pretty good, 8's acceptable, really depends on the day. But again, I can very clearly see on my app how much time I'm not working. I'm not bullshitting myself and saying, well, I think I only took 2 hours off today when in fact I took 4. Your brain is never accurate about these things. It's always going to lie to you. So you want to be very careful about this and always get empirical numbers. That's how I operate. And that's it. That's how I make the money I make. That's how I'm able to run multiple companies. That's how I'm able to live my wonderful Alpha Male 2.0 life and live it in a way where I don't get stressed out. I don't get pissed off. And that's another thing. I work decent hours, but I don't get stressed out. I don't get angry. I don't get pissed off. I live a really, really good life because I've structured my day-to-day this way. Now, again, if this seems too intense for you, if working 9 hours of real time and having a 2.5 hour morning routine like I do is just beyond your brain, that's fine. Instead, what I suggest you do is sit down and map out how many hours you do want to work, the type of work you do want to have, the amount of time you want to take off, and have a morning and nighttime routine. Maybe it's 20 minutes for you, a half an hour, whatever it is. Do your version of whatever I said. Don't try to be like me unless you really want to be exactly like me, then that's fine. But if you don't want to be like me, don't. Be like you. Do you, boo. Don't copy me exactly. You're probably not me. I'm a very excited, very motivated guy. I have the testosterone of an 18-year-old man, even though I'm 50 because I'm on TRT. I'm very healthy. I'm very excited about life. I have very big goals. I have a lot of energy, as you can tell. So you may not exactly match me exactly. I try to be the template for the Alpha Male 2.0 model as best as I can. A high-achieving, happy guy who lives a really good life, has a lot of sex, makes good money, location-independent income, doing things he likes. I try to be the model, and so I know every day when I wake up, I kind of have to be the model, so I structure my day accordingly. Plus, I have some really big goals that I've not hit yet, and I want to hit those goals, and I'm going to hit those goals, so I've got to make sure I get the time in to make sure I hit those goals. Very simple. If you want help in terms of designing a lifestyle like this, if you need help with your time management or any other aspect of your life like this, your business life, your woman life, what have you, you can join my SMIC program at joinsmic.com. That is my monthly mentorship and audio training program. We have regular meetings live, or I do this live. I answer your questions live several times a month. Plus there's almost 100 audio trainings in there for both business and women, plus a lot of other stuff. Join SMIC.com if you're interested. Also, in the meantime, you can click this video here on the best time management technique that I can give you. You should watch that and check that out. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Have fun. Bye.